couple of bits. Alright, guys, just a short one really today. I'll explain in a minute what we're talking about, and we'll go from there really. I'm just waiting for this live feed to go out there so notifications go through to you. If we don't get any people, it doesn't. It is 7, 7:15 UK time right now. So I don't normally go live at this time. So it'll be funny to see who we do get, if we do get anyone at all. And I'm going to be talking a bit about my IVs that I've just finished, the way I've been feeling in general, and a little story that I thought I'd bring to your attention, and see if you want to try and adapt that into your life, day-to-day life, and see if that, you get any, not encouragement from it, but any health benefits from it is the word I'm looking for. So um, I'll touch on where I've been with things. So I finished my home IVs about a week ago, and I started picking up towards the end of them. And shortly after coming off the IVs, I started feeling poorly again, and I couldn't work it out. How could I be on this really strong medication for 2 weeks and come off it and feel terrible? My chest health started declining, and over parts of my health, my stomach. So I went back on ciprofloxacin for about a week and a half to treat two infections I believe was going on. I felt like I had some kind of urine infection from the meropenem and prostate infection. So I took that, and it started picking up both ways with my chest again. My chest started picking up, and the prostate infection started going. Then somewhere down the line, I developed something that felt like a stomach bug, and really bad nausea. Every time I was lying down, it felt like I was almost passing out. I didn't like it. As the days got on, it got worse and worse. And yesterday was my worst day out of the lot. I was actually physically sick. I woke up screaming out for Vicar. I was that dizzy. Felt like I don't know, anyone who suffers with vertigo, severe vertigo, almost feel like they're dying or they're not in the same world anymore. It's that bad. It's not a nice thing to have vertigo. So the vertigo's been playing up, and it's like I've had no relief. I get put on this medication. It treats one thing. As soon as they take me off, I relapse. It's like, where do you go with things? I've actually started to think now that last resort, I'm buying an e-pen with cannabis oil and smoke in it. But that is a last resort. It's getting to that now where nothing's really working. There's too many side effects with all this medication you have. And as soon as you come off it, you just go to pot. So what's the point? It's like in 3 months' time, we do it all over again. And you're going to be well whilst you're on the medication. You're going to be well for a couple of days whilst you come off the medication. You're going to relapse again. So that's the rubbish thing about this condition, really. It's very much antibiotic orientated, and as soon as you come off him, you feel like rubbish. Do you know what I mean? So it's quite a struggle. So I've been looking at that, and I mean, people with lung conditions shouldn't be smoking anything really, but when you look at it, most of the treatment we take is inhaled treatment. So just because it's been proven, you know, by health professionals that inhalers work for the lungs, it still inhales substances, so it's still going directly in the lungs. So whether it's through a ventilator or a e-pen, I think that's what they call it. I think there's two types of things you can have. It's an e-cigarette machine, and I've heard not to use that. I've used to use the e-pen, and I've got a friend on here. Talking Really is called Talking Really, and he uses one, and he uses it predominantly for pain because he's got a bad back. So I'm using it. I'm going to be using it for something different because I can't go on like this, guys. It's got to a point where I've done everything possibly. I've tried to eat better foods. That hasn't done much. I've tried the medication, even the ones that are top-ended medications, and has little effects for a little amount of time. So at this moment in time, I've been using a Vortex. What they called now? Where you put your inhaler, It's like a tube and it's a vortex. So I've been using the inhaler in there, and I've been getting the full amount of steroids over a slow period. So instead of going that one shot, that one shot now becomes about 4 or 5 breaths. It's like a vortex chamber, and I felt better for doing it. I feel like I'm getting the medicines, and it's like now I'm at this stage now in my life where I'm at a constant battle with steroids, maintaining that wheeze. As soon as I come off the steroids, I'm back to normality, feeling like shit, rubbish. It only lasts about a few days till I come off him. So now I'm concerned at the age of 34 that I'm becoming very steroid dependent, and not only that, these medications aren't working. So when you get to this point, you have to start thinking outside the box. Modern medicine has took me so far. If I leave it in the hands of modern medicine and don't try anything, then for me, I've failed as a as a campaigner and failed to try other things that's outside the box. So that's where we're at. I always say to like cancer patients, and I say this in the deepest diplomatic, sympathetic way, is that when the radiation stops working that they take, not that I'm a big fan of radiation anyway, but start thinking outside the box, because when doctors start giving you a few days to live and a few weeks to live, that's when I was saying, right, well, I've tried everything that you've gave me. I'm not giving hope. I'm going to try something else, and that's when a penny would drop for me. When a doctor would say, "Listen, you're at end of life. You're going to die anyway. You're not going to be around here much longer. Spend some time with you." That would make the penny drop for me and say, right, well, this medication is obviously not working. Staying on it may prolong my life for a week or two, but I'm not on about prolonging life for a week or two. I want to prolong my life for as long as I can. Then I would be looking more at other stuff. So I would be looking down the natural path of what people have said. What people have said to work cannabis oils. There's not just cannabis oils. There's different things out there. There's different civilizations and things like that have done things with herbs, and you don't have a lot of time to experiment. So we have to do the research now for when that time may come where you say, I'm going to have to make a transition here, or I'm going to have to just deal with it and stay on this medication. And or you could even interact the medication, make sure there's no side effects between, say, for instance, using a cannabis-based oil and using your medication when they're due, because you don't want to be running into a few things here. You don't want to be running into side effects or counter effects where if you take the cannabis oil, that doesn't work. Because I do know there's a charcoal you can use. It's called anything charcoal toothpaste, charcoal tablets. But with the charcoal, and I know this for a fact, and it is 100% scientifically backed, the charcoal will stop other medications working. And now why I know it's a scientific fact is it does the same thing in a fish tank. If you have some kind of charcoal fish tank media inside your filter and you put medicines in for the fish, all that charcoal will scramble that medicine, basically dilute it, it won't work. So the same will work. So you have to think when you're going down either path, can it be used combined? Will it interact? And things like that. Don't just start jumping at other alternatives. But always bear in mind that there is something else out there. There's something else out there. And it leads me on to my probably last topic, really. A couple of years ago, I never owned a mobile phone. I have in the past. I used to own mobile phones, and then I went about 3 4 years without owning one. And it was only when I started talking to my partner now that I started using a Samsung. I think it was Samsung Tab 3. It's a little white tablet, and I was on it quite a lot, to be honest. I was talking back and forth, and then when I was going to my partner's house, I was bringing it with me. I was always almost using it like a pocket-sized phone, but you got to remember it's a tablet, so it's not like something like that. It's probably 3 4 times the size of a mobile phone, and I was using it, and that's when I recall now when I look back is that everything started changing for me. That's when I was getting poorlier, relapsing all the time, taking the medicines, sending another sample, a sample off, the sample coming back with either the same infection or another infection. And this is around about the time I was using, technology more than I've ever used. This is a pattern that's kind of formed, and then I made this switch from the tablet to a mobile phone. And before I touch about the mobile phone, I'll go back to the Samsung tablet. So there's one day I had the tablet in my hand, and I can't recall what magnet I had. I think the magnetic thing I had in my hand was like some sort of toy or little what you get from holiday, like souvenir or something. It wasn't like your full-on circular magnet. I didn't even know it was a magnet. So I've got my tablet at the time with this thing. I think it was actually on like a key ring, and boom, it just went like that. Boom. I says, "What's going on? Is this thing I'm holding in my hand a magnet, or is there a magnet in this tablet?" Anyway, the force that dragged this tablet and this little piece of metal souvenir, we'll call it, together was almost almost unseen before. I hadn't seen that kind of strength through magnets. I've seen it in science and when they show you the gravitation pull or whatever. But wow. And then I remember putting my tablet down near the speaker, and there's magnetics in the speaker. It just stuck to it. And then it made me think that what are actually in these devices that we're holding in our hand, putting to our ears, things like that. And then I moved from the tablet to a mobile phone, and the phone that I chose was a Huawei P20 Pro. And again, nothing really changed. My health didn't get better; it seemed to get worse. I had more hospital stays since I got this mobile phone, and upgraded to faster internet as well. I'm currently using BT Smart Hub 5, so fibre optics to the property, but not Samsung, BT. So we're on ultra fast internet. We have this device, we have Bluetooth speakers and things like that. And I started thinking that when I'm on these home IVs now, are we having an interaction with the medication and the wireless that we're connected to? Is there any point that you're getting 2 weeks of this medication if potentially the stuff that we have floating around the house, whether it's EMF, whether it's Bluetooth, is this not having an interaction with medication, the way it's absorbed, the way oxygen's absorbed, the way we feel in general? So I'm looking at probably downgrading and upgrading, and I think that's what I can share with you a lot, guys. Is look at how you're feeling. You can't put everything down to, oh, maybe I've got a stomach bug, maybe I've got food poisoning, because in the past when I've had problems with my stomach and things like that, I've sent all the stuff you're supposed to send. No stomach bug in the stool sample, things like that. And you're like, well, I felt terrible. I've had pulsating in my arms. I've described this to the doctor in the past, and they've looked at me like that's quite strange. To the point, I actually thought it was something to do with the brain, neurological, because I was having these spasms in my arm. Like, say, for instance, my arm here, and I know we get a pulsating from time to time, a twitch in the eye. These things can be normal stuff like stress, anxiety, but I don't believe it is anymore. I believe that something's going on, and it's our body's way of saying that it doesn't like what's going on. Now, when I've explained to doctors in the past, they've looked at me like, what's he going on about? And I'm hearing a lot more people saying, my body feels like it's pulsating. I've just had a shudder in my leg. Like, well, that was weird, that. I've had my feet feel like they're burning, and like almost like you've been stood on your feet all day. Yeah, but 10 times worse, almost like you're getting electrocuted with some kind of heat. Same again with the palms of the hands. I've noticed that when I'm on this device, and I'm going to tell you a few devices to stay away from. This is a Huawei P Smart. Okay, anything made by Huawei, I wouldn't use. This is a double-sided phone glass. So there's glass on that side, and there's a glass on the back. Always put a plastic case on the phones. Anytime I'm on this phone and I'm out holding it like this, regardless of whether it's on charge or not, yeah, whether it's on charge or not, the palms of my hands are radiating, burning. And it's not just because of the heat that's generated in this little device. Like any electrical products, you normally have heat, see, like a heat source, but that's not it, guys. It feels quite strange. So I will warn you about technology and how it's impacting human health. It's up to you what you do with it. There's ways to um, there's ways to counteract it or minimize the effects of what we're surrounded by, what we're living with. You could actually turn your router off at night. If you can't be bothered doing it every night, just get a timer um, and just set it for an hour after you go to sleep. So if you want to watch a video, you can do. What surprises me, and it's quite worrying now, people are basically using their Wi-Fi now for security systems and other things. So now they don't have that option to turn their Wi-Fi off, and that's the scary thing. Not having that option to turn something off that you know nothing really about, that you have something running on your house 24 hours a day, is quite scary in itself. This BT Hope and Reach Smart Hub, when I got it installed, it didn't just come with a router, guys. It didn't come with a router only. It came with this white box. It's about, I'm trying to give you a visual. It's about an A4 paper cut in half, okay? And it's mounted on the wall. It's got a 10-year battery, right? And it flashes these green lights on top of a router inside your house. Now, when I phoned up, I said, I didn't know this. I didn't know when I was signing up to BT Internet Fast Broadband that you stick something that looks like an exchange in my house. Then you look at your smart hubs, smart meters. There's actually a smart meter in this house, radiating radiation. So basically, I'm going to wrap this up. But before I do, I want to talk about Bluetooth. Bluetooth shouldn't be left on all the time. We have Bluetooth speakers these days. Be careful of your Bluetooth. If you recall, years ago, what came out? What came out with a mobile phone? It was a headset or hands-free set, and it was a little, mind the hair, lockdown. It was a little earphone, a microphone that came out to about here. A lot of taxi drivers used them, and a lot of people who were walking down the street used the hands-free kit. Wasn't it strange that we've seen a lot of brain tumours? A lot of brain tumours came around about the same time Bluetooth headsets were being used, right? Constantly with an earpiece to the head, wired with Bluetooth, right? You have to think about it. Okay, guys, it's not something we should be connected to all the time. No Bluetooth. Limit your wireless. Turn it off at night. You will see that you're getting better sleep and hopefully better health impacts as well. We don't know what this Wi-Fi is doing to us on an emotional level or a physical level. And before I go, I'm going to share the name of this page, and it is a 5G campaign page. It lets you know all about 5G. It's all scientific analysis. It's not people just with conspiracy theories. Even though I don't like that word, I don't like conspiracy theory, but it is all legitimate, stuff that's being shared on this page, and they are pushing for a stop on 5G. It's got 80,000 members in the group. I do not consent to 5G and the impacts on human health. And this is the group. Don't know if you've seen it. If you can all join now, there's 80,000 people. I've been chosen to, be a moderator, so that's quite good. And I'll give you the name just in case you missed it. So I want you to search Worldwide Unified Peaceful Action Against 5G Networks. So you should find it by sending that. So 5G is going to impact human health as we know it. What I don't consent to is them throwing these 5G masts up outside hospitals, outside care homes and outside schools without permission from parents, without permission from loved ones who are visiting their loved ones who are actually in an hospital undergoing treatments. I don't I don't comply to that, and I don't consent to it. And the reason Australia have won my hearts at the moment is because they are coming together in a time where there's much divide and no unity, and that's why I've got to applaud Australia, even America, the UK. They're doing a bit, but it's all over the place. It's not, it's not constructed very well, and it's not backed up by evidence. There's no one trying to get lawyers to take the telecom places to court or to stop the rollout of 5G. It's just over here. It seems like people are just turning up to parks and just having a picnic and getting arrested. Where in Australia, it looks like it's backed up. Michigan, in America, it wasn't so much about 5G, the Michigan protest, but it was orchestrated peacefully, correctly, and got the word out. And unless the UK follows suit and do something like this, we're just going to have 5G rolled out by the ready. Like I say, I've been feeling like something's not been right for a few years, and all I can think to myself is that this technology is not a good thing. Start limiting your time on it. Start going to grassroots technology, such as you don't need the latest phone. You don't need the latest phone. Downgrade. You don't need to be sat with a laptop on your kneecaps. Put it on a table. Go back to a PC tower. Turn your Wi-Fi off, and you should have a little bit of better health. Right, I'm going, guys. Take care.